Hey guys, Thumbstick Dad here. Thanks for tuning in to my channel. I'm excited to bring you guys a new series called Elden Ring Essentials. And what this series is all about is breaking down some of the more complicated aspects of Elden Ring so that you guys can understand it better from the very start and make better decisions with less trial and error. So let's get right into it. This first video is all about understanding your stats and what they mean. So I'm going to show you guys how to look at that for yourself, and then I'm going to explain everything for you. So the first thing you're going to do is look down at the very bottom of the screen and you have a show status button. That's going to bring up the stats for every class. And once you bring up the status, you're going to hit that little help button and go down to explanation, and it will show you what all of these things mean. And I'm going to explain it even simpler. So, your vigor, that is your health bar. That red bar, it determines how much damage you can take, and that is what you want to invest in if you want to be able to just eat hits, if you want to be an absolute tank. So that will help you avoid those one-hit kills in the boss fight. And it also affects your fire resistance and your immunity stat. Your mind. Your mind is the one that governs your force points, or your FP. So what that means is that that blue bar that you use in combat, whether you're casting spells or using weapon skills, this is the stat that determines how big that blue bar is. And what that's useful for, and it gets overlooked a lot in the melee classes, even for pure melee, you need those FP so that you can execute your weapon skills. Every time you do one of your special weapon attacks or one of your special shield attacks or anything like that, it's going to drain that FP. And it's also going to affect later on when you get your spirit bell, when you want to summon Ashen Companions, is going to affect that. Alright, so endurance. Endurance is all about your green bar, and that is your stamina. The main thing with endurance is that it's going to affect how much stamina you have for attacking and dodging attacks and running away when you're in combat. All of those things are super important for survival, and it's also going to affect how much equipment you can actually carry. And that doesn't mean what's in your inventory. That means how high your equipment load is. If your equipment load is really low, you're not going to do well with heavy armor. But if your equipment load is high, you can wear some of the heaviest armor in the game. It also affects your robustness, and what that means is how hard it is to stagger you or knock you off your feet when you get attacked. Strength. Strength is all about heavy weapons, and that's for you barbarians out there that like to crush things with heavy clubs and big swords. And what that is all about is scaling. The higher your strength is, the more damage you do with those weapons, or any other weapon really, depending on scaling. So your strength affects your weapon damage and how much damage you actually take. It's separate from vigor, because your strength, the higher it is, it increases your physical defenses against those physical attacks. Dexterity. Dexterity is also an equipment modifier, and what that means is your skill-based weapons like your rapier, a lot of your katanas and things like that, they're going to have a higher dexterity scaling, and it is focused more on speed for your faster weapons or your ranged weapons, all that stuff. And an important note is that it also reduces your casting time. So that's how long it takes you to actually spit out those spells and get that damage to the enemy. It affects how how much damage you take when you fall, and it makes it harder for you to be knocked off your horse. Intelligence is one of your magic stats, and what that does is it mainly governs intelligence, that's one of your magic stats. It affects how much damage your magic is going to do with your offensive spells, which is your sorcery. But it can also help you with your incantations. This is for offensive magic. This is for when you want to do damage with your magic. Faith. Faith is another magic stat that is used for your defensive uses, like, you know, putting out buffs or faith. Faith is another one of your magic skills that buffs your faith-related incantations. And what faith is used for is for defensive stuff. Intelligence is for offense. Faith is all about defense. That's where you get your buffs and your things that are going to keep your enemies from hurting you. Arcane. Arcane is another magic stat, and it focuses on some of your sorceries, but it has the effect of luck as well. So that's what it means with discovery. If you have higher luck, you find better stuff. And it also increases your defense against holy damage. And Arcane is what helps you resist the death effect in Elden Ring. So Arcane is another magic stat that's a little bit different. It can affect your incantations and sorceries, but it's more so on the defense side. So it boosts your defense against holy damage, it boosts your vitality, and the important thing is it affects your luck. So when it affects your luck, that's what it's talking about by your discovery. It's like you're gonna find items, you're gonna find good items, that kind of thing. And what it doesn't tell you is that it actually helps you with the death effect. And that's like the curse and everything from Dark Souls, where when it builds up, it kills you. So Arcane is going to help you with that. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope this made things a little easier for you guys. And keep an eye out for the next video, which will be actually... Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope this made things a little easier for you. And stay tuned for the next video, which is how to pick a class. Thumbstick Dad out.